The war room fell silent when the humans walked in. Commander Daniel Perry led his team through the massive doors of the Coalition Command Station. He was a tall man with gray at his temples and calm eyes that had seen too many battles. Behind him walked Lieutenant Lisa Morgan, her tablet already scanning the room's data feeds, and 6 other officers in crisp blue uniforms. Admiral Kethvarm watched them approach with barely hidden disgust. The Telvari commander stood 8 feet tall, his scaled skin shimmering under the lights. His 4 arms were crossed over his chest, and his golden eyes narrowed as the humans stopped before the central table. "So these are our saviors," Kethvarm said. His translator made his voice sound flat, but everyone heard the mockery in it. "The Coalition Council sends us humans, creatures who discovered space travel only 200 years ago." Perry did not react to the insult. He simply nodded and said, "Commander Daniel Perry, Earth Expeditionary Force. We are here to help." "Help." Kethvarm turned to face the holographic map floating above the table. 3 star systems blinked red, showing Drath Dominion territory. 2 more flashed yellow, indicating active combat zones. "The Drath have destroyed 40% of my fleet. They have killed millions of my people. And the Council sends me 12 human ships." 15 ships, Perry corrected gently. 3 more are arriving tomorrow. A younger alien stepped forward. Zinal was Valesi, smaller than the Telvari, with soft blue fur and large dark eyes. He served as a junior tactical officer, and Kethvarm had assigned him to work with the humans. It was meant as punishment for a minor failure in the last battle. "Admiral," Zinal said carefully, "perhaps we should review what the humans can offer. Their ships may be fewer, but their weapons technology is—" "Their weapons are crude," Kethvarm interrupted. "Their ships are slow. Their species is young and foolish. They do not understand war the way we do." He looked directly at Perry. "You have never faced the Drath. You do not know what is coming." Perry met the Admiral's gaze without flinching. "You are right. We have not faced the Drath before. But we have faced enemies who wanted to destroy us. We have fought wars that nearly ended our species. We survived." He paused. "We are here because the Coalition asked for help. We did not come for glory or payment. We came because your people are dying, and we can help stop it." The room went quiet again. Several alien officers exchanged glances. No one had expected such a response from the human commander. Kethvarm made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Pretty words. We shall see if your actions match them." He waved one of his 4 hands at Zinal. "Take them to their quarters. Brief them on the tactical situation. Keep them out of my way until I decide how to use them." Zinal bowed his head and gestured for the humans to follow him. As they left the war room, Lisa Morgan walked beside the young Valesi officer. "Thank you for speaking up for us," she said quietly. Zinal's ears flattened against his head in embarrassment. "I should not have. The Admiral is my superior. I must respect his judgment, but you do not agree with it." The Valesi was silent for a long moment. Then he said, "I do not know what to think about humans. Your species is very strange to us. You fight wars among yourselves. You damage your own planet. You kill each other over small differences." He glanced at her. "Why would such a species travel across the galaxy to die for strangers?" Lisa smiled. "That is a good question. Maybe you will find the answer while we work together." They reached the quarters assigned to the human contingent. The rooms were simple but clean, designed for species that preferred different gravity and atmosphere. The humans would need to make adjustments, but no one complained. Perry gathered his team in the common area. "First impressions are not good," he said. "The Admiral does not want us here. Most of his officers feel the same way. That means we need to prove ourselves through action, not words. Sir, said one of the younger officers, what if they refuse to let us fight? What if they keep us in reserve? Then we wait, Perry replied. We follow orders. We show them that humans can be trusted. And when the chance comes to prove our worth, we take it. He looked around the room. I know this is not the welcome we hoped for. But remember why we are here. Millions of innocent people are dying. The Drath do not care if their victims are Talvari or Valesi or human. They kill everyone the same. Our job is to stop them, no matter what the aliens think of us. Lisa's tablet chimed. She looked at the screen, and her expression changed. Commander, we have a priority message from Coalition Intelligence. The Drath are moving faster than expected. They have assembled a strike force near the Valesi colony of Tarath Prime. How many civilians? Perry asked. 2 million, mostly families. The colony has minimal defenses. Zinal, who had stayed to help the humans settle in, made a small sound of distress. Tarath Prime is a farming world. They have no military presence. If the Drath attack, there will be a massacre. Perry was already moving toward the door. Then, we need to convince the Admiral to send a defense force immediately. He will not listen to you, Zinal said. He does not trust humans. Then, he will have to trust the data. Perry looked back at the young alien. Are you coming with us? Zinal hesitated. His assignment was to keep the humans out of trouble, not to bring them back to the war room. But the thought of 2 million civilians dying because of pride and prejudice made his stomach turn. Yes, he said. I am coming. They found Keth Voran still studying the tactical displays. When Perry presented the intelligence about Tarath Prime, the Admiral's scales rippled with what might have been concern. The Drath are trying to draw us out, he said. If we send ships to defend the colony, we weaken our position here. If we do not send ships, Perry replied, 2 million people will die, including children. Keth Voran's golden eyes fixed on the human commander. War requires sacrifice. Sometimes we cannot save everyone. Maybe, Perry said. But we can try. My ships are ready to go. Give us permission, and we will defend Tarath Prime ourselves. The Admiral stared at him for a long moment. Then, slowly, he nodded. Very well, human. Go and die for strangers, if that is what you wish. But do not expect me to send my ships to rescue you when the Drath overwhelm your little fleet. Perry saluted. Understood, Admiral. Thank you. As the humans rushed to prepare their ships, Zinal made a decision that would change his life. He requested permission to join them. Keth Voran granted it without hesitation. If the foolish young officer wanted to die with the humans, that was his choice. But deep in his heart, in a place he would never admit existed, the old Admiral felt something he had not felt in years. He felt hope. The sky above Tarath Prime burned orange and red as Drath warships rained fire on the colony below. Commander Perry stood on the bridge of the Wellington, watching the tactical display with grim determination. 15 human ships against 30 Drath vessels. The numbers were bad, but the situation on the ground was worse. Sensors showed Drath landing craft already touching down near the main city. 2 million civilians had nowhere to run. All ships, this is Perry. We need to break that blockade and get ground forces to the surface. Wolfpack formation. Target their command ship. Make them focus on us. The human fleet surged forward. Drath weapons lit up the darkness of space, but the human pilots were fast and clever. They wove through the enemy fire, drawing attention away from the planet. Zinal sat at the secondary tactical station, his blue fur standing on end with fear. He had never been in real combat before. The simulations at the academy had not prepared him for the sound of impacts against the hull or the smell of burning circuits. Lieutenant Morgan, he said, his voice shaking. Why are your ships moving to the front? They should stay behind and support from range. Lisa looked up from her station. Because if we stay back, the Drath bombers will keep hitting the colony. Our ships are taking the hits, so the civilians have a chance. But your ships will be destroyed. Maybe. Probably. She gave him a small, sad smile. That is why we are here. The battle raged for 2 hours. 4 human ships were destroyed. 2 more were badly damaged. But the blockade was broken, and transport ships carrying human ground forces punched through to the planet's surface. Sergeant Kevin Walsh led his squad through the burning streets of the colony's main city. Explosions echoed in the distance, and the screams of civilians filled the air. Valesi families ran in every direction, trying to escape the Drath soldiers who marched through the ruins. Torres, take point, Walsh ordered. Find us a path to the evacuation zone. Corporal Megan Torres moved ahead, her rifle ready. She was small but fierce, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. The squad followed her through the smoke and debris, helping wounded civilians along the way. They found a group of Valesi huddled behind an overturned transport vehicle. A mother held 3 small children close to her chest, all of them crying. When she saw the human soldiers, her eyes went wide with confusion. Please, she said in broken common language, please help. Soldiers come. Kill everyone. Torres knelt beside her. We are here to help. Stay close to us. We will get you out. The squad moved on, gathering more survivors as they went. Soon they had nearly 50 civilians following them, mostly elderly and children. The evacuation zone was still 2 kilometers away, and Drath patrols were everywhere. Walsh received a transmission from command. Sergeant, we have a problem. Sensors show a large group of civilians trapped in a shelter near your position. Drath forces are closing in on them. How many civilians? Over 300, mostly children from a learning center. They sealed themselves inside when the attack started, but the Drath are cutting through the doors. Walsh looked at his squad. 8 soldiers. 50 civilians already in their care. 300 more trapped and about to die. Torres stepped forward. Sarge, we have to go. We have orders to reach the evacuation zone. I know. Her eyes were hard. But there are children in that shelter. If we do not help them, no one will. Walsh was silent for a moment. Then he nodded. Squad, change of plans. We are going to that shelter. Peterson, take the civilians we have and continue to the evacuation zone. The rest of you, with me. They ran through the city, following the signal to the shelter. When they arrived, they found exactly what they feared. A Drath assault team was using cutting torches on the heavy doors. Smoke poured from the metal, and the sound of terrified screaming came from inside. 6 Drath, Torres counted. Heavy armor. We have surprise on our side. Walsh raised his rifle. Make every shot count. Ready? Now. The humans attacked with speed and fury. The Drath were larger and stronger, but they had not expected resistance. 3 fell in the first seconds. The others turned to fight, but the humans were already among them, moving and firing with deadly precision. Torres took a plasma burn to her shoulder, but kept fighting. Walsh killed the last Drath with his combat knife when his rifle ran empty. When it was over, all 6 enemies lay dead, and the human squad was still standing. The shelter doors opened slowly. Hundreds of Valesi children poured out, their teachers trying to keep them calm. When they saw the human soldiers standing over the dead Drath, they stopped and stared. One small child, barely old enough to walk, broke free from her teacher and ran to Torres. The little girl wrapped her arms around the soldier's leg and held on tight. Torres looked down at the child, then carefully picked her up with her good arm. The little girl buried her face in the human's neck and stopped crying. It is okay, Torres said softly. You are safe now. We have you. Above the planet, the battle in space was reaching its end. The Drath commander, seeing his ground forces failing and his fleet taking heavy losses, ordered a retreat. The human ships pursued briefly, but then turned back to protect the evacuation transports. Zinal watched the Drath fleet disappear into faster-than-light travel. He could not believe what he had just witnessed. The humans had fought like demons. They had sacrificed their ships, their soldiers, their lives, all to protect a colony that was not their own. "Lieutenant Morgan," he said quietly, "4 of your ships were destroyed. How many crew members did you lose?" Lisa's face was pale with grief, but her voice was steady. 2,347. "And on the ground?" "We do not have final numbers yet. At least 60 soldiers. Maybe more." Zinal shook his head slowly. "I do not understand. Why would your people die for us? We treated you with contempt. We called you primitive. We said you were not worthy of alliance." Lisa looked at him with tired eyes. "Because those children in the shelter did not treat us with contempt. Those families running through the streets did not call us primitive. They were just people who needed help." She paused. "And humans help people who need help. That is who we are." The Wellington docked at the Coalition station 6 hours later. Admiral Kethvoren was waiting in the landing bay. His expression was unreadable as the human survivors walked off their ships, many of them wounded, all of them exhausted. Perry stopped in front of the Admiral and saluted. "Tereth Prime is secure, sir. Civilian casualties were kept to minimum. The Drath have retreated." Kethvoren was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, he raised one of his 4 hands and returned the salute. "Well done, Commander," he said. His voice was different now, softer. "Well done." Behind him, Zinal carried the little Valesi girl who had attached herself to Torres. The child was asleep in his arms, finally safe, finally at peace. She was alive because humans had chosen to die for her. That was something Zinal would never forget. The medical bay of the Coalition station was filled with the wounded. Humans lay in beds alongside Valesi and Telvari, all of them victims of the battle for Tereth Prime. The doctors moved between patients, treating burns and broken bones and wounds that would take months to heal. Zinal walked through the rows of beds, searching for the human soldiers he had fought beside. He found Corporal Torres near the back, her shoulder wrapped in healing gel, her eyes closed. The little Valesi girl from the shelter sat in a chair beside her bed, holding the soldier's hand. "She will not leave," said a nurse passing by. "We tried to take the child to the refugee center, but she screams whenever we move her away from the human." Zinal sat down on the other side of the bed. Torres opened her eyes and looked at him. "Hey," she said, her voice rough from pain medication. "You made it. Thanks to your people. You saved many lives yesterday." Torres looked at the child still holding her hand. "Not enough?" "Never enough. How can you say that? 300 children are alive because of your squad. Thousands of civilians escaped because your fleet broke the blockade, and 63 of my friends are dead." Torres closed her eyes again. "I knew most of them. I trained with some of them. Jensen taught me how to play cards. Rodriguez always shared her dessert with me. Now they are gone, and I have to figure out how to live with that." Zinal did not know what to say. In Valesi culture, death in battle was seen as an honor, something to celebrate. But the human did not seem honored. She seemed broken. "I am sorry," he said finally. "I do not understand human grief. But I can see that you are in pain, and I wish I could help." Torres opened her eyes and gave him a weak smile. "You are here. That helps." Elsewhere on the station, Commander Perry was meeting with Admiral Kethvoren. The war room felt different now. The hostility that had filled it before was gone, replaced by something closer to respect. Your losses were significant, Kethvorin said. 4 ships. Over 2,000 crew. Why did you not retreat when the odds turned against you? Perry considered the question. Because retreat would have meant leaving civilians to die. We do not do that. Even if it costs your own lives? Especially then. Perry leaned forward. Admiral, I know you do not fully trust us yet. I know you think humans are young and foolish. But I need you to understand something about my people. We have a long history of failure. We have made terrible mistakes. We have hurt each other and our world in ways that shame us deeply. Kethvorin listened in silence. But we have also learned from those mistakes, Perry continued. We learned that the only way forward is together. We learned that protecting the weak is not weakness, it is strength. And we learned that when we fight for others, we find the best version of ourselves. He paused. That is why we came here. Not for glory or power. We came because you needed help, and helping is what we do. The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, Tomorrow we will hold a ceremony for the fallen. My people have our own traditions for honoring the dead. I would like to learn how humans do it. Perry nodded. We would be honored to share that with you. The memorial was held in the station's largest gathering hall. Human survivors stood at the front, their uniforms cleaned and pressed despite their exhaustion. Behind them, hundreds of Talvari and Valesi had come to watch. Lisa Morgan read the names of the dead. Each name was followed by a moment of silence. No rank, no species, just names. 2,347 names. It took nearly 2 hours. When she finished, Perry stepped forward to speak. In human tradition, he said, we do not celebrate death in battle. We mourn it. Every person we lost was someone's child, someone's friend, someone's love. They had dreams and fears and hopes for the future. And now they are gone. He looked out at the crowd of aliens watching him. But we also remember why they died. They did not die for territory or resources. They did not die for revenge or hatred. They died protecting innocent people from harm. They died so that children could grow up safe. They died so that families could stay together. His voice grew stronger. There is no greater purpose than that. And as long as humans draw breath, we will honor their sacrifice by continuing their work. Admiral Kethvorin rose from his seat and walked to the front of the hall. Everyone watched in surprise as the proud Talvari commander stood beside the human. I have served in the coalition fleet for 60 years, Kethvorin said. I have fought in 12 wars. I have lost many soldiers under my command. But I have never seen anything like what the humans did at Tarath Prime. He turned to face the human survivors. I treated you with disrespect when you arrived. I called you primitive and unworthy. I was wrong. He raised all 4 of his arms in the Talvari gesture of highest honor. In the name of my people, I thank you. In the name of the dead you saved, I thank you. And in the name of the children who will grow up because of your sacrifice, I thank you. The Talvari and Valesi in the crowd began to rise, one by one, making their own gestures of respect. Soon the entire hall was standing, aliens and humans together, united in grief and gratitude. Xenal stood near the back, tears running down his blue fur. He had come to this assignment expecting to babysit primitive newcomers. Instead, he had found something he never expected. He had found heroes. After the ceremony, he found Lisa Morgan standing alone by a window, looking out at the stars. Lieutenant, he said, may I ask you something? Of course. Your commander spoke about continuing the work of the fallen. What did he mean? Lisa smiled sadly. He meant that we do not stop. We grieve, we heal, and then we keep going. There is still a war to fight. There are still people who need protection. If we let our grief stop us, then everyone who died would have died for nothing. Is that not exhausting? Carrying so much pain and still moving forward? Yes, Lisa admitted. It is exhausting. But that is what makes it meaningful. Easy things do not matter much. Hard things matter a lot. And protecting innocent people is the hardest, most meaningful thing we can do. A message came through on Lisa's communicator. Her expression darkened as she read it. What is wrong? Zinal asked. Coalition intelligence has intercepted Drath communications. Warlord Kazuth is gathering his entire fleet. He is planning to attack the Telvari homeworld. Zinal felt his blood run cold. Calith Prime? That is impossible. The defenses there are the strongest in the sector. The Drath do not care about defenses. They care about revenge. Lisa looked at him with determined eyes. Kazuth lost face when we beat him at Tarith Prime. Now he wants to prove his strength by destroying the heart of the Telvari civilization. What will the humans do? Lisa was already moving toward the door. What we always do. We will fight. We will protect. And if we have to die, we will die standing between innocent people and those who want to hurt them. She paused and looked back at him. The question is, what will you do? Zinal straightened his spine and followed her out the door. I will stand with you, he said. Whatever comes next. Calith Prime hung in space like a jewel of blue and gold. The Telvari homeworld was beautiful, covered in vast oceans and ancient forests that had grown for millions of years. 12 billion people lived there. Cities of crystal and stone rose from the landscape. Monuments to a civilization that had explored the stars when humans were still learning to make fire. Now that civilization faced extinction, Admiral Kethvorin stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the defensive fleet assemble. 60 Telvari warships formed the wall around their homeworld. Behind them, the remains of the human Fleet 11 ships, all bearing the scars of Tarith Prime, took position. It is not enough, Kethvorin said quietly. Commander Perry stood beside him, studying the tactical display. Intelligence says the Drath are bringing over 100 ships. You are right. It is not enough. Then why are you here? Why do your people stay when the odds are so terrible? Perry turned to face the Admiral. Because your people are here. Because 12 billion lives are worth protecting. And because running away has never been our style. A new signal appeared on the sensors. Multiple contacts dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Kethvorin tensed, expecting the Drath to arrive early. Instead, the contacts resolved into human ships. 30 of them, led by a massive carrier that dwarfed everything else in the fleet. This is Admiral Scott Harrison of the Earth Combined Fleet, a voice announced over the communications channel. We heard you could use some help. Perry laughed a genuine, relieved laugh. Admiral Harrison, how did you get here so fast? We pushed our engines past the safety limits. Lost 2 ships to drive failures on the way. Harrison's voice was steady. But we made it. And we brought friends. More contacts appeared. Valesi warships, their sleek blue hulls bright against the darkness. 20 ships that had rallied from colonies across the sector. Zinal stared at the display in amazement. The Valesi Council authorized this? They did not have to, said a Valesi commander over the channel. We volunteered. After what the humans did at Tarith Prime, we could not stay behind. Kethvorin closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, they were wet with emotion he would never admit to feeling. All ships, he said, his voice strong. This is Admiral Kethvorin. Today we stand together, Telvari, Valesi, and human. Today we fight not as separate peoples, but as one force. Today we show the Drath that there are some things worth dying for. The fleet roared its approval across every frequency. On the surface of Calith Prime, in an ancient temple overlooking the capital city, Elder Matriarch Velthara prepared for the battle to come. She was over 300 years old, the spiritual leader of the Telvari people. And she had seen many wars, but she had never seen anything quite like the humans who came to meet her. Commander Perry and Admiral Harrison walked into the temple with respect, removing their boots at the entrance as Telvari custom demanded. They bowed to the elder matriarch and waited for her to speak first. "You have come to die for my people," Valthara said. Her voice was ancient and wise. "I would like to understand why." Perry glanced at Harrison, who nodded for him to answer. "Elder matriarch," Perry said, "a long time ago, humanity nearly destroyed itself. We had wars that killed hundreds of millions. We poisoned our own world. We hated each other for foolish reasons: the color of our skin, the gods we worshipped, the borders we drew on maps." Valthara listened in silence. "But we survived," Perry continued. "And we learned. We learned that we are stronger together than apart. We learned that protecting others is not a burden. It is a privilege. And we learned that the measure of a civilization is not how much it conquers, but how much it protects." "So you protect us," Valthara said, "because you believe it makes you stronger?" "No, we protect you because it is right. Because every life has value. Because your children deserve to grow up safe, just like ours do." Perry's voice grew soft. "We protect you because we remember what it felt like to be alone and afraid. And we do not want anyone else to feel that way." Valthara studied the human for a long moment. Then she rose from her seat and walked toward him. She reached out with one ancient hand and touched his face gently. "You speak truth," she said. "I can feel it in your heart. The Telvari will remember this day. We will remember the humans who came to save us." The warning sirens began to wail. The Drath had arrived. Perry and Harrison raced back to their ships as the enemy fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. 120 Drath warships, led by the massive dreadnought of Warlord Kazuth himself. All ships engaged defensive formation, Kethvorin commanded. "Protect the planet at all costs." The battle began with fire and thunder. Drath weapons slammed into the Allied fleet, and Allied weapons answered. Ships exploded on both sides. The darkness of space lit up with death. Admiral Harrison led the human ships in a flanking maneuver, drawing Drath attention away from the weakest part of the line. His carrier took hit after hit, but it kept fighting, launching wave after wave of fighter craft. "Human ships, form up on the Telvari cruisers," Perry ordered. "Cover their weak spots. Do not let any Drath through." Zinal's ship shook as a Drath torpedo struck its shields. Alarms screamed. Damage reports flooded the bridge. The ship was crippled, drifting helplessly toward the enemy line. "All hands! Abandon ship," the Velasi captain ordered. But before the escape pods could launch, human ships moved to surround the crippled vessel. They formed a ring of protection, taking hits that were meant for the helpless Velasi crew. "What are they doing?" Zinal shouted. Lisa Morgan's voice came over the channel. "We are buying you time. Get your people off that ship. We will hold the Drath back. You will be destroyed. Then we will be destroyed together. Now move." The evacuation took 7 minutes. In those 7 minutes, 3 human ships were destroyed protecting the Velasi escape pods. But every single member of Zinal's crew made it to safety. On the flagship, Kethvorin watched the battle turn against them. The Allied fleet was fighting with incredible courage, but the Drath simply had too many ships. The defensive line was breaking. Then he saw something that changed everything. Admiral Harrison's carrier, burning and broken, turned toward the Drath dreadnought. It was on a collision course. "Harrison, what are you doing?" Perry shouted over the channel. "Ending this." Harrison's voice was calm. "If we take out Kazuth, the Drath will lose their coordination. The fleet will scatter, You will die. I know. There was peace in Harrison's voice. Tell my family I love them. And tell the galaxy that humans do not abandon their friends. The carrier struck the dreadnought at full speed. The explosion was visible from the surface of Keleth Prime. Warlord Kazuth was dead. His flagship was destroyed. And exactly as Harrison predicted, the Drath fleet fell into chaos. Keth Vorin did not hesitate. All ships, attack. Drive them back. The Allied fleet surged forward. Telvari, Valesi, and human ships fought side by side, pushing the confused Drath back. Ship after ship fell to the united assault. Within an hour, the remaining Drath fled into faster-than-light travel. Running for their lives, Keleth Prime was saved, on the surface. 12 billion Telvari looked up at the sky and wept with relief and gratitude. In the temple, Elder Matriarch Velthura knelt in prayer. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for sending us the humans." 6 months had passed since the Battle of Keleth Prime. The war was over. The Drath Dominion, shattered by the death of Warlord Kazuth and the destruction of their greatest fleet, had surrendered unconditionally. Their remaining leaders agreed to peace terms that would prevent them from threatening the Coalition ever again. Now, on the Coalition capital world of Centrum, representatives from every member species gathered for a ceremony unlike any other in galactic history. The Grand Assembly Hall was enormous, built to hold thousands of beings from dozens of worlds. Today it was filled to capacity. Telvari stood beside Valesi, and both stood beside humans. Other species who had joined the war in its final days were there as well: the insectoid Krix, the crystalline Var, the gentle giants called the Malthari. All of them had come to honor the heroes of the war. Commander Daniel Perry sat in the front row, his dress uniform decorated with medals from 3 different civilizations. Beside him sat Lisa Morgan, now promoted to commander herself. Behind them sat the survivors of the human expeditionary force soldiers and sailors who had fought impossible battles and lived to tell about them. Corporal Megan Torres sat near the back. She still carried the scars from Tareth Prime, but she wore them proudly now. Beside her sat a young Valesi woman, the child she had saved from the shelter, now adopted into a Valesi clan but forever bonded to the human who had protected her. Admiral Keth Vorin walked to the central podium. The great hall fell silent as he prepared to speak. 6 months ago, he began, I stood in a war room and watched humans walk through my door. I looked at them with contempt. I called them primitive. I said they were not worthy of fighting alongside my people. He paused, his golden eyes sweeping across the crowd. I was wrong. I was a fool. A murmur ran through the assembly. For a Telvari admiral to admit such a thing in public was almost unheard of. The humans taught me something about honor, Keth Vorin continued. I thought honor meant victory. I thought it meant being the strongest, the fastest, the deadliest. I was wrong about that too. He turned to look at the human delegation. Honor means sacrifice. Honor means putting others before yourself. Honor means running toward danger when every instinct tells you to run away. His voice grew thick with emotion. Honor means dying so the children you have never met can grow up safe. He raised all 4 of his arms in the Telvari gesture of highest respect. To the humans who fell at Tareth Prime, I give the blessing of eternity, the highest honor my people can grant. To the humans who fell at Keleth Prime, I give the same. And to Admiral Scott Harrison, who gave his life to save 12 billion Telvari, I give my personal oath. His name will be remembered on my world for as long as our civilization endures. The Telvari in the crowd rose as one, making the same gesture. Then the Valesi rose. Then the other species. Within moments, every being in the hall was standing in honor of the humans who had died. Perry felt tears running down his face. He did not wipe them away. The ceremony continued with speeches from other leaders. The Valesi representatives spoke about how humans had protected their colony and their children. The Krix ambassador told how human ships had covered their retreat in a battle that would have seen their entire fleet destroyed. One by one, species after species told stories of human courage, human sacrifice, human kindness. Then came the awards. Commander Perry was given the Coalition Star of Valor, the highest military honor in the galaxy. He accepted it with quiet dignity and immediately said that it belonged to everyone who had served. Not just him. Commander Morgan received the Valesi Heart of Compassion for her work as cultural liaison and her efforts to build understanding between species. But the moment that moved the crowd most was when Megan Torres walked to the podium. A Valesi elder stood waiting for her. Beside him was the young woman who had once been the child Torres saved from the shelter. "Corporal Torres," the elder said, "you entered a battle you did not have to fight. You protected children who were not your own. You took wounds that were meant for our people." He held out a ceremonial robe decorated with Valesi symbols. "In the name of Clan Vareth, I offer you the title of Protector Sister. You are now and forever a member of our family. Your children will be our children. Your home will be our home. Your honor will be our honor." Torres took the robe with shaking hands. The young Valesi woman embraced her, crying. "Thank you," Torres whispered. "Thank you for letting me be part of your family." The crowd cheered so loudly that the hall shook after the ceremony. Xenol found Commander Perry standing alone on a balcony overlooking the capital city. The alien walked up beside the human and stood in comfortable silence for a moment. "What will you do now?" Xenol asked. "The war is over. Will you return to Earth?" Perry shook his head. "Some of us will, but many of us will stay. There is still work to do. Other threats will come. Other people will need protection. Humans do not stop just because one war ends." "I have requested permanent assignment to the human fleet," Xenol said. "My superiors approved it this morning." Perry looked at him with surprise. "You want to serve with us? After everything you have seen? After all the death?" "Because of everything I have seen." Xenol's dark eyes were serious. "Before I met your people, I thought I understood what it meant to be a warrior. I thought it meant being strong, being fierce, being willing to kill." He paused. "You taught me that being a warrior means being willing to die for others. It means putting yourself between innocent people and those who would hurt them. It means choosing love over hate, even when hate would be easier." He straightened his spine and saluted in the human fashion. "I want to learn more. I want to become the kind of warrior that humans are. If you will have me." Perry returned the salute with a warm smile. "We would be honored to have you, Xenol. Welcome to the family." In the days that followed, something remarkable happened across the galaxy. Military academies from dozens of worlds began requesting human instructors. Young aliens applied to serve on human ships. Diplomatic missions sought human advisors. The word spread from planet to planet. To fight alongside humanity is to learn what true courage means. To serve with humans is to understand that strength comes not from weapons or technology, but from the willingness to sacrifice everything for those who cannot protect themselves. "Commander," Perry gave one final speech before returning to active duty. He stood before a graduating class of cadets from 12 different species, all of them eager to serve in the new unified fleet. "You have heard stories about what humans did in the war," he said. "Some of those stories are true. Some are exaggerated. But there is one truth that never changes. We are stronger together than apart." He looked out at the young faces watching him with hope and determination. "The galaxy is vast and dangerous. There will always be those who want to hurt others, who want to conquer and destroy. Our job is to stop them. Not because we are the strongest or the smartest, but because we choose to protect. We choose to stand between darkness and light. We choose to be better than our enemies. He raised his hand in a gesture that was becoming famous across the stars, the human salute, adapted for aliens who did not have human hands. Welcome to the fleet. Welcome to the family. And remember, to fight alongside humanity is to be honored and respected beyond worlds. The cadets rose as one and returned the salute in that moment. Looking at the future of the galaxy standing before him, Daniel Perry knew that humanity had found its purpose among the stars, not as conquerors, not as rulers, but as protectors. And that was the greatest honor of all.